Hey kids, we're a couple of annoyed grunt boys, and this is the 138th Simpsons podcast. Are you gonna be my guy? Yeah! That's right, we're the podcast that explores the American animated sitcom The Simpsons from seasons 11 and beyond, and the newest episodes when they're available. Why do we do it like that? Well, an entity known as the Wheel of Random has trapped us and forced us to watch a show in such a manner. Plus, there's plenty of other podcasts that explore the quote-unquote golden age of The Simpsons. And I say we because I'm one annoyed grunt boy named Steve, and with me, as always, is the other annoyed grunt boy,
Craig.
Hey, Craig, how are we doing this week?
We're doing great, Steve. What do you got for me?
Well, Craig, this week we're talking about a game that Homer and Abe invented called Noodle Ball. And it got me to thinking about other famous sports and games from other pop culture that they made up that I think would be fun to play. So I was wondering, are there any games or sports from the world of entertainment that you wish that you could play in real life?
Well, let's just get it off the bat. I've played like video games versions of this, but the Quidditch from Harry Potter.
Yeah.
It's fun on video game form, but now I'm thinking about it. I don't think I'd want to play that in real-time Z's because it's very fast-paced, and I feel, I don't want to fall off a broom. Like, assuming I'm a wizard in this, not a muggle.
Right, and also the scoring format of it is just stupid, because if you get the Seeker, you're just, like, done. Or the Snitch, rather. Yeah.
Yeah. Usually when I get a Snitch, I get stitches.
That's right. Yeah, I think that one would be fun. Also, Blurns Ball from, Futurama. That could be fun.
Yeah, it's very much like baseball, but it's Blurns Ball.
Exactly. It's completely different.
What about, I haven't seen this movie since I was in like high school. I don't know if it still holds up, but remember Basketball?
Oh, yeah. Also like basketball, but yeah.
Yeah, it was like basketball, but it looks fun. It's just like horse in a way, right? Isn't that how that movie started? I'd have to rewatch it, but I feel like there's gonna be like problematic things. Like there's probably a lot of like gay panic jokes in that movie.
Yeah, I'm sure there are, but it probably still has its moments. But yeah, it's been a long time. Not exactly a sport, because I'm not exactly a sporto, but one game that I would like to play is Cones of Dunshire from Parks and Rec.
Oh yeah, like fictional card games too. I know it's not a sport, but I think there is like in Star Wars universe. Mm-hmm. I know there's like fictional, but like the card game that Han Solo and Lando play, I think it's Sabacc. I think there should be real Sabacc. I want to play that. I know there's like other sports like pod racing, but that seems too dangerous.
Yeah, I know that certain politicians are really good at this, but from Star Trek, I'd really like to play 4D chess.
I believe it was 3D chess, Steve.
Well, I want to play with time, too. It's even better.
There was, like, a sport in Star Trek The Next Generation, Ambu Jitsu, which is, like... There's an episode where Commander Riker's dad comes on board. I think it's Ambu Jitsu. Yeah. It's like, remember, this is also the height of American Gladiators.
Yes.
So remember, like, in American Gladiators, they had, like, the poles with the Q-tip poles.
Exactly, yeah.
Fight that way. So they kind of like did that same thing in Star Trek The Next Generation, but because of budget, it just looks stupid and funny. Like, remember how like when you were a kid watching The Next Generation and watching it, you're like, this is so much better than the original series because it's not as hokey and with the cheesy sets as the original series. This looks like better and like just the production value is so much better and like it looks real. But now when you watch like TNG episodes, you're just like laughing at like the crappiness of it. It's just like it holds up with like that nostalgia like the original series did. I think that's great. But I would say that yeah, they were like just doing those pole things and they were in these like Tron looking outfits that were like red and blue and but also just like it was like foam. It's classic.
Yeah, I think that all those are really fun fake things, but the real fake sport that I'd like to play is tennis.
That sounds a lot like the real sport of pickleball.
Yeah, you're kind of right, it does. Pickleball. That's the real sport. That's what real people play. All right, and that takes us to this week's episode, Full Heart, Empty Pool, in which Homer and Grandpa team up to create a new sport that rivals pickleball until Homer kicks Grandpa off. All right, let's give it a watch, and we'll be right back.
Come on, come on, come on, I like it, come on, come on, come on, I like it, come on.
And we're back. Today we're talking about Full Heart, Empty Pool, the 21st episode of the 36th season. It is episode 789 in the show's run, It originally aired on May 11th, 2025. Your nerd code is 36ABF10. It was written by Jeff Westbrook, directed by Chris Clements, and your showrunners are Matt Selman, Rob LaZebnik, and Al Jean.
All right, Mr. Westbrook. Last time we talked about him was way back in our 299th episode. Shoddy Heat, Steve, from season 35.
Let us not forget On a Clear Day I Can't See My Sister from earlier this month, or from March.
Oh, you mean our 319th episode?
Exactly.
Yeah, I was thinking like, wait, I swear we just talked about him. But, usually we have the episodes in order.
Right.
That one was on top there on the notes I see. All right.
Damn you, Will of Random.
Yeah, I'm not cutting this out, Steve. I want to show the listeners that even us gods can make mistakes.
Yes, we're not infallible.
Hey, I'm taking pills for that, Steve.
Thanks, Hims. That's offer code user annoyed grunt boy at hims.com.
No, it's Annoyed Boner Boys, I think is the promo code.
I hate having an annoyed boner.
Yeah, because Hims works so well. You're going to be so annoyed with your boner.
Urgh, it's too hard.
It's the boner you remember when you were 13.
I love remembering a 13-year-old's boner.
Speaking of boners, Jeff Westbrook. I'm sure he's received them. And had them, I mean. WGA Award winner, Jeff Boner Westbrook.
That's right.
Jesus. Anyway, so yeah, this is our 16th out of 26. So we got another, just an X. A 10 we have to review.
Formerly Twitter.
Yeah. Are the Roman numerals now going to just get rid of X as 10 and just make it like Twitter so they're not associated with that?
Yeah, it's bad enough that they have that salute that they have to worry about. So yeah, I think that the numbers I also want to get away from.
Feel bad for all those Romans losing their salute. They lost a lot, Steve. They lost slavery and other things.
Their ears.
Their best friends stabbed them in the back all the time.
I know.
At least they have a good salad dressing.
That's true. And
Italian.
Right. And, they have the romantics, like Romeo and Juliet.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the band, the Romantics.
I was talking about them, but then I couldn't remember what song they did, so I just ditched that bit.
I often think about the Roman Empire, but dated joke from a year ago.
But let's get current with The Simpsons and their jokes.
Sure.
And our episode begins, as it always does, at some house. The alarm clock goes off, and it's a squeaky-voiced teen, and he wakes up, ready to face the day. He feeds his guinea pig, Amy, telling her that he needs to look his best, as he's going to ask out the rodent's namesake, Amy, to the prom, which is themed Enchantment Under the Retractable Hoops.
I know we make the joke every episode of our episode begins like it always does at blank.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like there is a lot of episodes that begin with alarm clock.
That's true, yeah. And it's funny because I haven't used an alarm clock in 20 years.
Wait, do you mean like an actual alarm clock and not
Yeah.
your iPhone alarm? Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, I don't think I have either. I mean, I have still an alarm clock in my room because I don't know. It's just I've been programmed that way.
Mm-hmm.
Because I like to middle of the night wake up and see what time it is, and not have to go for your phone.
Sure.
Sorry, Steve. I'm still a little analog in your digital world.
That's right. But I do have an Apple Watch, but I always put the analog hands on it because for some reason I think that's the funniest thing in the world to have a digital analog watch.
But it makes you also look smarter because you actually know how to read it.
Which is evidently a lost art, yeah.
Calligraphy, reading clocks, democracy, all lost arts.
Things we'll never ever get back.
Not a political podcast. All right, well, as Jets Are You Gonna Be My Girl plays, squeaky voiced teen does some exercises in his tidy whities before getting dressed for the day. Instead of wearing tees from his favorite bands Imagine Barf, Vampire Nards, and Puss Blossoms, our pubescent hero opts for a shirt that says I heart intersectional feminism. He practices what he's going to say in front of the mirror next to his Motley Crue poster when a visitor rings the doorbell.
Okay, just that cool. Hey, Amy, you promming? No. So, Amy, some of your hair got caught in your locker and I took it. No, God, no.
Andrew, there's someone to see you.
You've been served, Starter Stash.
Whoa, What is this, Dad?
That's a subpoena. You've been called as a surprise witness in court today.
I can't go to court. I spent all my after-school job money on a skywriting promposal.
Testifying in court is a matter of duty and honor. Besides, everyone knows Amy's going to the prom with Josh.
So this is kind of a fun, like, family sitcom beginning, with, like, the parents of Squeaky Teen voice, Teen. I always get his name wrong. Also, his mom's voice is Tress McNeil, but also she does Shauna, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you're like, wait, Shauna's his mom?
It's very confusing.
But let's talk about how great it is that Squeaky Teen's dad is Kevin Michael Richards, very deep black man voice as his father.
Mm-hmm.
Saying that eventually Squeaky Teen, spoiler, we'll see it at the end, this callback, but I just thought that was hilarious, like, before we get to the joke at the end of the episode, that, like, his dad.
Got a really deep baritone voice. I do want to say, though, that it doesn't come up often, but we've talked about how his voice, or his name is actually Jeremy Friedman, and yet they referred to him as Andrew.
Now, I'm not sure if we've discussed this before, but I feel like we have, or maybe I haven't brought it up, but is maybe the theory that all teenagers that aren't your, like, bullies or your Shaunas are all Squeaky Teens? Like, there's multiple Squeaky Teens?
I kind of like that canon because it also, in my mind, also means that there are multiple Raphaels, who was also in that clip. And so, yeah, it's just kind of like an analog for somebody in Springfield.
You know what I would like to see, because you mentioned Raphael, if, we've brought this episode up a lot, is the Road to Cincinnati episode with Skinner and Chalmers.
Mm-hmm.
What if there was that type of episode, but with Squeaky Teen and Raphael going on an adventure?
I'd love that. That'd be great.
Or like a whole episode, like maybe Squeaky Teen is an intern at where Raphael works, and so he's showing him around. All right, they have to do something, and then you can throw Gil Gunderson in this episode.
Yeah, and through the episode, Raphael can learn patience and understanding, and Andrew, Jeremy, Squeaky Voice Teen, can learn, grit and determination because of Raphael's constant badgering of him. Yeah, I like this. And they all hate Gil because Gil sucks.
Right. Shauna could be in it. Just no Simpsons. What would happen if that happened? I don't know.
I mean, I think it'd be interesting. But in this one, Andrew's parents drag him past the prom tuxedo store and into the Subpoena Suits boutique, where he can find the perfect outfit for taking the stand. At the Springfield Courthouse, which provides liberty and justice for most, the teen formerly known as Jeremy is questioned about his time as a Builder's Barn employee.
So we, along with the courtroom, learn that Andrew rented a backhoe to one Homer, J. Simpson, to, quote, dig a bitchin' swimming pool in his backyard, then throw an awesome pool party and not invite Flanders. But he does that in the Squeaky Teen voice, and it's funnier than how I delivered it. So the attorney then goes on to say that while Homer was building that pool, he managed to destroy local gas, sewer, and power lines. Homer's shenanigans resulted in rolling blackout, which still occur to this day, as proven by the courtroom's sketch artist, who draws floating eyes in the darkness when the power briefly goes out.
Good joke. The lawyer argues that Homer is far too incompetent to have the right to rent a backhoe, which is why Homer is suing Builder's Barn. The Matlock-like defense attorney, no, not Kathy Bates, allows Homer to take over the questioning. So after proving that he was and is currently a little drunk, Homer then allows over 170 character witnesses to point out his incompetence.
Your Honor, I'd like to take over the questioning, if I may.
Mr. Simpson, only a fool has himself for a lawyer.
That's exactly my point, sir. When Mr. Simpson, that is myself, rented the heavy machinery in question, isn't it true that my breath smelled strongly of beer, as it does now?
I don't know what beer smells like. I was going to have my first one ever at the after-prom party.
Homer can't even unfold a lawn chair.
I don't think he understands doors. He's fat and lazy and carries diner jelly packs in his shirt pocket.
That's irrelevant and prejudicial.
Let her speak!
Has the jury reached a verdict?
Yes, we're very disappointed. This turned out to be a real trial and not a hidden camera comedy reality show. Also, we have no choice but to find for the plaintiff.
Oh! You're the plaintiff.
Woohoo!
Kind of dig the idea of diner jelly packets in my pocket.
I know, it would be kind of nice. There's something special about a diner jelly packet. It's like, it feels special.
Did you ever take them when you went to a diner, like as a kid or older?
Oh, yeah. I think I did. Like, I feel like we always had a drawer in our kitchen of, like, weird condiments like that you could probably just buy in a store, but it felt different. Like, having a Welch's, like, grape jelly in a little packet.
Oh, trust me, I still have that drawer at my house. Like, it's mostly filled with Taco Bell fire sauce or, like, Del Taco's hot sauces.
Mm-hmm.
There's also random, like, Heinz ketchup ones. Like, I'm never going to use this, but they're still there.
Yeah, we have soy sauce packets, even though we always have a bottle of soy sauce.
Actually comes in handy because a lot of times if you're like looking at a recipe and it's like a tablespoon, that's a packet. So you just go, there's my tablespoon of soy sauce.
That's a move. I like that.
Yes.
That's really good. I also like that a comic book guy referred to the show Jury Duty, which, it's not that old. It came out in 2023. But also they're going to have a second season somehow.
Yeah, it's probably all new improv actors. Why would it be the same? Because I was a huge fan of God, I don't know if anyone remembers this, but back in the early 2000s, the show called The Joe Schmo Show,
Mm-hmm.
which I believe they rebooted recently, like this year. Never watched it because that first season was pretty much the only good season. So I remember when like Jury Duty came out, I'm like, this is just The Joe Schmo Show. I'm not going to watch it. And then I watched it. I'm like, okay, Jury Duty is damn good.
It's a great show, yeah.
I feel like Nathan Fielder's rehearsal is more like an elevated Joe Schmo / Jury Duty show, but like,
yeah,
it's the most cringe thing on TV.
It's the hardest, best thing to watch on TV right now. Like, I hate how much I love it, and I love how much I hate it. It's fascinating. I will never think about milk the same.
Oh man. Anyways, the Simpsons though. Simpsons, yeah. It's fun seeing Homer defend himself.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel like so many TV shows you've seen dealing with like courtroom drama? Like, I'm not like a courtroom type show. I do watch the new Matlock, which you referenced with Kathy Bates,
Mm-hmm.
but I've never been like a Law and Order guy. With that being said, though, would you feel able to defend yourself without a lawyer because of so many TV shows you've watched?
I think so. I think that, like, I could have that aha moment where people are like, yeah, I think so. And, like, I like in this clip that how Homer's brilliant because his stupidity is what makes his case. So he's smart enough to know how stupid he is. Oh, that's kind of smart and dumb.
Yeah, I like it. Also, like, Squeaky Teen is just doing his job. Like, why is it up to him as the employee?
Yeah, especially as a teenager had a job at, like, basically Home Depot. Like, that shouldn't be on him, like, whether or not he can rent large farming equipment.
It should be the owner. All right. All I'm saying is lock all small business owners up.
That's right.
We only want big corporations in this regime.
They know what's best for us.
They sure do, Steve.
If they didn't, why would they be so big?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, Steve, the judge tells the courtroom that after a quarter century of fighting for Lady Justice, he's learned that she is nothing more than a painted tart. And he is the one running the flophouse in which she turns her tricks. He then awards Homer the smallest amount possible for damages, $95.
Oof. Well, elated with his successful lawsuit, Homer starts a jury wave. So, comic book guy, Dewey Largo, Lindsay Naegle, Bumblebee Man, Warburton Parker, Miss Springfield, Chaz Bugsby, Cesar Mazariegos, Brandine Speckler, and the Range Rover Mom, Bourbon Valentiner, and Angry Ricky all join in on the wave. But when Gil Gunderson, Terrence, Gareth Prince, and Lunch Lady Dora go to join in the fun, Homer says no alternates.
Steve, I'm surprised you knew everybody in that jury.
Yep, did it all from memory.
I don't know who Bourbon, Verlander, or Angry Ricky are.
Angry Ricky worked at the Springfield Power Plant, and he is a redheaded guy with anger issues. And Bourbon Verlander was, of course, a college founder of, like, the Skull and Bones Society, and voiced by good old Jason Alexander.
So, a large muddy hole sits in the backyard of 742 Evergreen Terrace, where a pool should be. Above that, a skywriter creates a message, Amy, come to prom with me. Andrew, parentheses, I sit behind you in math. End parentheses. So inside, Homer shows of what he bought with his court winnings. Floaties. So like floaty noodles and pool balls. But as Marge points out, they don't have a pool, but rather a hole that Homer is unable to repair because The judge banned him from his using any class of excavating equipment. So you're telling me that that's $95 worth of foam pool equipment?
I was thinking the same thing because I recently went on a shopping trip to local employee-owned food store Winco, and they happen to be selling pool noodles for like $2.99 a piece. So you could buy quite a few pool noodles for $95.
Did you buy them and then put Velveeta cheese sauce on it, Steve? I think they would actually be noodles.
I did, and it was disappointing, but better than Velveeta, so it was okay. So Marge goes on to say that according to permanent court records, she is officially married to a buffoon, as stipulated by all parties. Always the optimist, Bart points out that Homer now has an entry on Wikipedia, that's WICCA, which lists him as the first U.S. citizen to become a court-certified idiot. As noted by Lisa, the admin of the page really made an effort, including a photo of Homer getting his head stuck in a bridge from Season 9's own Lost or Lisa.
So is their version of Wikipedia, is she just looking at the Wikipedia? For some reason, Homer's on it?
See, that's what's interesting is, like, they refer to Wikipedia with a Wiccan spelling as their Wikipedia, but there is actually a real-life Wikipedia for Wiccans.
Yeah.
And yeah, I tried to find, like, I thought it'd be fun if somebody went to the trouble of making Homer's Wikipedia page, but I did not see it on either Wikipedia with a K or Wicca with a 2 C's, so.
I think it's because, like, Simpsons fans just don't care about the internet.
That's true. And the only thing they can comment on Reddit is, I haven't watched Simpsons since Season 9, but it sucks.
Well, Steve, after Marge asks if he wants this to be his legacy, Homer offers that he has many other things to remember him by. Like the time he fell into wet cement in front of the church, leaving a memorable ass print. We then do a Family Guy-esque cutaway of patrons leaving their Sunday service, only to lose their footing as they step into the groove left by Homer's massive butt cheeks. And it's quite massive. Like, they go down about 2 feet.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. And, like, I didn't hate that joke, but it did feel like a little McFarlane-y.
I like that. McFarlane-y.
So Homer then attempts to claim Lisa as his legacy, though Marge says that she is her legacy. Sure, Homer may have called dibs on Lisa in the delivery room after seeing her first, but Lisa is Marge's success story, which has to make Bart and Maggie feel great, especially Maggie because she could be great too. I mean, Bart's probably a lost cause. So that night, as Homer mumbles in his sleep about legacy, he dreams of a surreal Springfield with a noted PBS host / marijuana enthusiast as his guide.
We're in the wonderful future, and I'm your guide, travel host and author Rick Steves. Every Sunday night, Lisa puts me on TV, and you fall asleep. That's why you're sleeping right now.
There's no better place for a perfect gratin dauphinois than on a train to Montrachet.
Someday, Rick. Someday.
These statues honor the legacies of the many people who made a difference in Springfield. Sleeping.
Legacy? Where's my statue?
You don't have one because you've never done anything worth remembering.
I bet Lenny doesn't have a legacy statue.
Look what we're standing on right now.
No!
Lenny invented invisible suspenders. Guess what's holding up my pants? The point is, they're all remembered, and you aren't. Now let me ask you something else. Have you donated to PBS this year?
Never!
So do you think Trump gets Simpsons episodes in advance? Because he was watching this episode in that line of donate to PBS. He's like, maybe we cut PBS's funding because Homer says he doesn't want it.
I mean, that's an interesting thought because that means that maybe Homer is like leading policy for the Trump administration throughout it, like, which is scary.
Yeah, didn't Trump just sign an executive order for deporting Flanders?
Yes, and a no Patty or Selma policy throughout all 50 states.
Yeah, it's really weird.
Bowling is now the national holiday for some reason.
And stupid Lisa Garbage Face. Jail?
Yes. He's gonna
okay.
imprison his daughter. Rick Steves, are you familiar with the soft-spoken joy that is Rick Steves.
Not at all. I thought he was a 1980s rocker.
Well, so he is from Seattle, Washington.
Never heard of it.
No, it's like Portland, but worse. Take that, Emerald City. But since the early 80s, he has a show called Rick Steves Europe, and basically he takes a trip to different parts of Europe, and he talks about it in his very soft-spoken way. And it's a very sweet, very comforting, very PBS-type show. And it's really kind of cozy and comforting. But also, in the 2000s and up to now, he's been a huge advocate for pot. He loves weed, and he loves to travel. And I think that we could all be more like Rick Steves.
Has he done Joe Rogan's podcast?
I don't think so, no.
Okay.
I hope I'm not wrong. For all I know about him, he seems like a really cool, down-to-earth guy with no issues. He just goes with his family, and yeah, he's good, hopefully.
Likes to travel a lot, huh? Steve, I'm looking here. He was at our nation's capital January 6, 2021. Huh, all right.
I mean, you got to get things done. You got to stand up for what's right.
Can we talk about the art in this clip? I like the drawings of this dream sequence. I also like how Homer was sleeping in his dream.
Yeah, that's really funny. You never heard about that. But yeah, I love the artwork. I don't know exactly what it's emulating. It feels like a little Bill Plimpton-y. But either way, it's really cool.
Kind of reminded me when Homer was the Insanity Pepper visualization, kind of reminded me of that episode. But yeah, Steve, there is some other people that make a difference, like we saw. So the first we see is Seymour Skinner.
We have Nelson Muntz.
Dedrick Tatum.
Buck McCoy.
Ned Flanders.
Gooseus.
And JG from the Great Gatsby, Steve. Which is that a nod to this podcast? How much we hated that episode? They were like, we're gonna throw him in there because that'll really irk the annoyed grunt boys.
I think so, and I gotta say, I'm irked because I hadn't thought about the Great Gatsby in 4 years now, and now we have to think about it again. Ugh.
Yeah, for another 4 years, Steve.
4 more years. That's what I say all the time, especially since this year. So, the next day, Homer sits in his pool hole, hitting a ball with a folded pool noodle, calling himself dumb and stupid. Marge is unsure how to comfort him. She asks Abe for help. She tells Grandpa that Homer has been in the hole for hours, and she's had to feed him like a dolphin, using a clicker to get his attention, waiting for him to squeak and spin, and then dropping a pancake into the hole.
I don't know how I felt about that joke. I laughed, but I'm like, should I? It's disturbing.
Yeah, it's a little weird to look at. And, I appreciate the fact that they made the dolphin noise, but yeah, it's weird.
I mean, I do like the stock audio of Dolphin.
Mm-hmm.
It's the audio you hear in, every cartoon.
It's like the Wilhelm scream of aquatic mammals.
Yeah, it's like that one, and there's always that hawk squawk that you hear in, everything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So usually used for eagles, which is erroneous because eagles have a much higher pitched, less heroic voice.
Yeah, they're kind of annoying. They're like,
fly, eagles, fly, on the road to victory.
Yeah, it's so annoying.
Awful, just awful.
Steve, are you excited that since you've moved, you'll never have to hear that again?
Absolutely.
All right. Do you think there's people on the internet that were like, the Simpsons already had a pool. Why are they doing this?
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, Steve, that was an above ground pool. This one looks like it's a below ground pool. So
that's right.
So totally different. So Abe asks his son what has him sitting in a hole of despair this time. So Homer answers, no legacy, which is the sequel to No Diggity.
Back it up.
Anyways, yeah. Abe recalls the family nearly gaining notoriety when his uncle had a soup named after him at the Chowder Hall. Sadly, a lot of people got sick from Stan soup. I thought the joke was going to be the jokes that we like of your Uncle Chowder Simpson had a soup named after him.
Yeah.
And then sadly no one likes Simpson soup.
That would have been a great joke. Or Campbell tomato soup. Or, they could have done something else, but Stan soup just feels like whatever.
Yeah, it was weird. I felt like there wasn't they said Chowder Hall. Am I thinking, is that a hall named after chowder? But just a place where you eat, like a soup kitchen, I guess. Is that how they refer to soup kitchens as chowder halls back then?
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. Stay in soup. I like my joke better.
I agree. It feels a little flat.
Well, maybe I'll put a little thickener in there, Steve. For the soup.
Right, of course. So Grandpa tells Homer to stop his ninny-wimpling and get out of the hole. Instead of following his father's advice, Homer complains that Abe ruined his roundsy. And so after Abe says, "Ruinsy to your round what?" Homer explains that when the ball bounces off all the walls, he calls it a roundsy. Homer then hits the ball to display what he's talking about.
So at first, Abe thinks that it's the dumbest thing he's ever seen, but then he gives it a go, and both Abe and Homer begin to enjoy themselves. So hearing their laughter, Ned Flanders takes a break from trimming his rose bushes to check it out, interrupting a sweet moment between father and son. So later, at the Springfield Retirement Castle, they share their new sport with their local seniors.
Son, I never played catch with you or tossed you a football or taught you how to ride a bike.
I hate you, you monster!
But now we have this. Yeah, you're all right.
Noodles? Balls? What do you call this wonderful game?
I don't know, but it's going to be something really clever. We call it Noodle Ball. It's exercise without movement. It's safe for your brittle bones. And you don't have to face the thing all us seniors fear about pools. Trying to peel off a wet bathing suit. Give me one of those noodles. Dad, maybe Noodle Ball is what will make the Simpson name live forever. A legacy that we created together. I'll jelly to that.
So again, that joke when Flanders is like, "Noodles, balls, what do you call this?" And then even as a viewer, I know he's going to say noodle ball.
Mm-hmm.
But that's expected. I think we needed something that wasn't that.
Like, I think it would have been funny, you're right, if both Abe and Homer offered, like, weird, wacky names, and then the next scene, they introduce it as Noodle Ball. Like, Homer could call it Super Sport, and Abe could call it, like, I don't know, like, Onion Fun. Because he likes onions. But, like, they could have...
Clearly, we're not writers because we can't think of a good punchline.
Surely we can criticize other writers.
But, I mean, that's the idea. Is like, I'm sure every viewer was like me that night watching it. I was like, oh, it's going to be called Noodle Ball. Like, we're programmed that way. It's always funnier. The unexpected is funnier.
That's the whole basis of a joke, is, like, subverting the expected. So, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, it could have been...
Cucumber ball. Pickleball, but not.
Oh, I get it, because it's not been brined.
Exactly. Because it's in an empty pool.
Right. Because you got to brine something with water and sugar and salts and spices.
Exactly. Yeah.
All right, enough about pickles. Yeah, okay.
All right.
Well, Steve, in the Quirly Corners with Kent Brockman, so they should have just shortened that to just like 3Ks maybe.
Yeah, it's faster, easier, more efficient.
So it's a section of the Channel 6 News. The venerable reporter is at the Springfield Recreation Center, where the town's golden agers are lining up to go 6 feet under in empty swimming pools. So Homer and Abe, Homer's the younger, fatter one, explains just how the game works.
If you hit the ball past your opponents and it bounces back to you, that's a roundsy. 1 point. Your opponents are trying to block the roundsy and hit it back to score their own point. Play until 3 balls get knocked out of the pool, and then everyone can check their phone for 10 minutes.
So dive on into Noodle Ball and drown the dog days of summer in the deep end of fun. Speaking of dogs, let's meet the spaniel who's predicted every Super Bowl wrong.
I think Kent's great.
I love Kent, and yeah, I love the dog who predicts everything wrong.
So, I mean, if you're going to do some gambling, whatever the dog predicts, go with what he doesn't choose, because that's probably going to be the winner.
Yeah, so if the 49ers are playing the Eagles, vote for the Eagles.
Vote for the Eagles.
That's how sports work. You vote on things, right?
Yeah, do you go to Vegas like, I'd like to vote on that roulette wheel, please?
1 ballot, please.
So this sounds kind of interesting. What's the name of the sport again?
Onion Fun. No, Noodle Ball.
Noodle Ball. Would you play a noodle ball?
I mean, I guess so, because pools are fine, but I can't swim. So yeah, I guess that's a good use for them.
And if the sport became so popular, they should just drain the ocean. You'd have one giant noodle ball court.
Whoa, that's great. Yeah, we don't need the ocean.
Or would we, Steve? It's full of plastic.
Oh, that's true. I do think that the noodle is not a great sporting tool. You figure like a tennis racket or like a ping pong ball racket, they're a bit more effective than a noodle pool, but I guess that's the challenge.
That's the challenge. You're right.
Noodle ball mania has taken over the surprisingly large number of backyard pools in Springfield, like a lot of people have pools, as well as the rec center. So when Homer and Abe face off against Sea Captain McAllister and Lionel Budgie, a lot of one-timer characters making another appearance, Homer makes a perfect roundie, winning the game and hitting Lionel's parrot squarely in the face, or beak. Marge is impressed, saying that since starting Noodle Ball, Homer's weight has plateaued. At this rate, he could not gain 50 pounds.
Lisa shows Homer his updated Wikipedia page, which heavily features Noodle Ball. Abe is delighted to see that the world is finally noticing The Simpsons in a good way. He then observes all the seniors playing like there is a tomorrow.
Agnes Lamb of God Skinner goes head-to-head against Alice Glick, and Jasper Beardsley and Old Jewish Man watch, as their old withered penises are harder than they have been in years. Agnes then takes turn kissing both of the horny old men, until she gets them to kiss, Challenger style, which is, for The Simpsons, a fairly modern reference. So that was last summer? So pretty good.
Yeah, that was just this last year, right? Because that was considered contender maybe for awards.
Mm-hmm.
Was it nominated for some Golden Globes for best male kiss, I guess? I don't know.
I'm sure it won an MTV Music Award. And
yeah, a music award, not even a movie award.
Yeah, it's the best music video of 2024.
Did you ever see the Challengers?
I did not. I think my wife did, and she thought it was fine. Did you watch it?
Yeah. No, it was on my list, but then I was like, at this point, I don't really care. I understand the references that pop culture will make, like The Simpsons just did.
That's kind of how I feel about most media these days. Is as long as I know how the references, I'm fine.
I mean, I'm finally caught up on the White Lotuses and Severances, so I feel like I'm good. I don't know what else is the popular Zeitgeist TV show right now.
Yeah, I feel like you're pretty covered.
Spoilers if, talking about time stamping, but this episode of SNL had Walton Goggins on, and he made a huge spoiler from season 3. I feel like if you haven't watched season 3 in his monologue, he says something oh, well, I'm glad I caught up on season 3.
Yeah. It's still pretty soon. I know that people binge watch things these days, but yeah, that's pretty big spoiler.
Yep. Well, Steve, Bart informs Homer of a problem occurring in the South Pool. Homer assumes it's just another old person three-way and suggests that Bart just hose down the old folks. So Homer's just telling his 10-year-old son to break up naked old people fucking.
Mm-hmm.
But the issue isn't a geriatric menage a trois. It's swimmers wanting to use a pool for its intended purpose, which is, of course, peeing in.
Exactly.
Protest signs are held that read, "The only pool game is Marco Polo. Stay in your lane," and "Greedy fools, empty pools." Hey, that's almost like the title of this episode.
Very close. Full heart, empty pool. So a lifeguard shouts that since it's summer, the kids are eager to swim. Homer tells him to go jump in a lake, adding that he's in Noodle Ball country. The very tall man, in a very sexy Speedo, says that even the very tall need a place to swim, which is a nice reference to 22 short films about Springfield. And Helen Lovejoy adds that the children need to cool off in the hot summer. And Homer responds by saying, "Won't everyone please not think about the children?" Which, should be the slogan of the Catholic Church.
Well, I mean, hopefully our new Pope watches The Simpsons.
Da Pope.
Again, tall, very tall man. You're saying that a lot of one-time characters or rare characters making appearances again.
Mm-hmm. I'm sure he's been in the show in the background before, but yeah, this is the first time I can remember hearing him talk and say the very tall need a place to swim too.
Right. Also nice establishing that this is a summertime episode.
Yeah.
That always pissed me off as a kid. That every TV show, every TV show when you're a kid, the summer's off, right? The end of the season is usually in May, and then comes back in September. That's how we were raised. So TV shows would always come back and that was such a great summer we had, but we never got to see it because they were always still in school. And yeah, what's up with that?
It's dumb. Yeah, I want to know what my friends on TV are doing in August.
I always think it's funny, like, even The Office did that. Like, the summers were also, like, the documentary crew didn't, like, film The Office during summer hours.
I never thought about that. That's a really good point. Like, what are they doing? It's just summer. Like, you're an adult.
Yeah, you don't have a summer vacation.
Just get slightly cooler. You turn on the AC a bit more.
Yeah. Well, the lifeguard fills up the pool, sending the seniors pack in. Abe assures the players that there are plenty of other pools in town. But when the Van Houtens take on the Hibberts in the backyard of their home, they are interrupted by bullies Jimbo, Curdy, and Dolph, who are using the pool to skate the half-pipe. Kirk claims that they were there first, but Curdy points out the Lords of Pool Town graffito tag, but the bullies proceed to blow cotton candy bubble vape smoke in the direction of the adults.
So, looking at his tablet, Homer sees a clip of the exchange on MyTube in a video entitled Righteous Dude's School Noodle Tools. He then sees other videos such as Ducks Retake Reflecting Pool and 10 Reasons Why Noodle Ball is Stupid. Abe offers a new target, but Homer's scared. And as we'll hear in this clip, things are getting worse for Homer's legacy.
What if we try to take over some pickleball courts? No, those wiffle ball whackers are psycho. They killed tennis without even breaking a sweat.
Dad, there's a new section on your Wikipedia page. Controversies. There's a petition to ban noodle ball, which has antagonized swimmers, scuba practicers, and frat house cannonballers.
Oh, that's all the thought leaders. We can't let noodle ball end up a failed sport like racquetball or soccer. Our father-son legacy is in danger. We gotta do something. Think! Hit harder!
Homer, Abe, there's someone here who wants to see you. I let him in because he's wearing a suit.
Gentlemen, I'm Gabriel Razzleton. People call me the Raz. But you shouldn't because I hate it. I represent a consortium of companies that can help Noodle Ball not only survive, but thrive.
What consortium?
I can tell you, or I can show you.
Homer makes the comment that racquetball and soccer aren't popular. Mm-hmm. I feel like in our area, soccer, it's like one of the only, besides basketball, the only like professional sport in this town. But I feel like soccer's pretty popular over here.
Yeah, I think that it's one of those things where like so many kids play it when they're like, 8 or 9 or 10, and then you just forget about soccer. But I feel like here in the Pacific Northwest, they just keep on playing soccer until they're adults, and then they're annoying about it, and they get their scarves and their whatever, and they're just like, yeah, soccer.
Yeah, I asked AI. Well, I didn't, but Google just becomes AI now, which is annoying.
Mm-hmm.
But, I asked, like, the most popular sports in USA, and, of course, American football is number one, followed by baseball, then basketball. I always felt the other way around. Like, I feel like basketball is more popular than baseball now.
I agree, yeah. I'd put football, then basketball, then baseball. That'd be my assumed ranking, because, yeah.
Then hockey, then soccer. Then hockey and soccer.
I love hockey and sake.
That's my favorite dish to get the sushi place.
Hocker and sake.
Yeah.
Also sounds like a great crime-fighting duo.
Yeah. Or like a 1970s cop show, detective show.
Yeah, exactly. Hocker and sake.
Seriously, it's like this grizzled man from like Jersey or New York has to be a cop in like Japan or some Asian country.
One's a chain smoker and the other one really likes rice wine, yeah.
No, but the other cop is like, it'd be like Pat Morita. This is like the 70s.
Yeah, exactly.
In this world where like, well, wasn't that the movie with Jay Leno?
Yes.
And Pat Morita?
Mm-hmm.
I've seen that, I forget what it's called, but like, that movie poster is like one of the best movie posters because it's like a cliche movie poster where they're like, got goofy faces and like back to back.
Yeah, it looks like a parody of those movies.
I've seen that on like streaming services. Those times where you're just like, I need to watch something. You're bored.
Mm-hmm.
You have better things to do, like clean the house. You're just like, I'm just going to waste time instead. And I'll see that like go by like HBO Max. And I'm like, I kind of want to see this train wreck. I've never seen it.
I know. We should do it for our Patreon.
There's a couple movies we've talked about doing for our movie Patreon that, because we wanted to connect it Simpsons wise, which we could because Jay Leno was on The Simpsons.
Mm-hmm.
Like I want to do that one, Dr. Detroit, which I think we talked about on The Simpsons.
Yes, Collision Course, by the way, is the name of the movie.
Collision Course, thank you. And then Heart Bleeps,
Oh, yes.
It's the Andy Kaufman movie that he was a robot, I think. Is it Bernadette Peters is in it, maybe?
I think you are correct, yes.
There's got to be connections Simpsons-wise with that. That voice, speaking of Simpsons, Steve, we should talk about Razzleton.
Yes.
That we teased it last week of Robert Smigel. That's the triumph, the insult comic dog himself.
He was a very, I didn't think I realized it at the time, but, growing up, he was a very instrumental part of my comic training because of, Insult, of Triumph, and his work on Conan, the bit where, it'd be, Arnold Schwarzenegger's photo, but his mouth would be cut out, and then they'd, show it on a video screen, and it would be Robert Smigel's voice doing a bad Arnold impression. His voice was, what I laughed at night, every night, when I would watch Conan.
And don't forget Robert Smigel as a writer on SNL.
That's true.
Smigel doing the TV Funhouse. I mean, he was doing those animated, all those TV fun, the early 2000s, those ones. Yeah. Also was the Bill Swirsky Superfans as a character. He would be on a couple sketches.
And let us not forget the short-lived but beloved Dana Carvey show, which featured him as well as both Stevens, Colbert, and Carell.
So it's just interesting that a lot of the same, you say it's Conan, the head writer for Conan for years, but how many SNL Conan people that worked on The Simpsons, and this is the first time Smigel's played with The Simpsons.
It is really interesting, yeah, and I'm surprised we don't see him more in just general stuff because he's so funny.
Yeah. I mean, he's just one of the great writers, comic writers, and maybe he should have punched up some of the script.
I don't want to show my hand just yet, but maybe he should have, yes.
All right.
Maybe they could have used him for something else. So Homer and Abe debate privately about whether they'd rather be shown or told what Razzleton has to offer, but after a 3-hour argument, they fail to reach a conclusion. So they ask for another huddle, but as Gabriel points out, it's always show, don't tell.
Indeed, Gabriel does show, not tell, about the avocado, also known as the alligator pear. Is that true, Steve, or they make that up for this episode?
That's what it's called, yeah.
Oh, I call it Jolly Green Giant's left nut.
Ho, ho, ho.
Because the right one's always bigger, so those are the jumbo avocados.
Right. 4046, not 4225. And the PLUs when you're doing self-checkout.
There you go, Steve. You always get the cheaper one, right?
Yep, and I always drop the 9 because they don't need to know if it's organic or not.
Exactly. I thought all the produce you ever bought was bananas.
That's true, 4011.
What's this stuff? What's 4896?
Is that cilantro?
I think it's limes, isn't it?
4048.
Oh, that was it. Oh, wait, okay, I got one. 3082.
Oh, that sounds familiar. Is that a bell pepper?
It's not. It is the same color of a bell pepper.
Is it a jalapeno?
It is not. It's not a pepper.
Okay.
This is riveting podcasting, by the way.
Yeah. Is it, green? Is it lettuce?
It is not.
Well, it's gotta be, is it broccoli?
It is broccoli.
Oh, broccoli. Yes, good old broccoli.
That means you need to eat more broccoli, Steve.
That's right. I stop listening to my President Bush and I'll start to eat it.
Well, the only reason I remember that one is because I always get the broccolini, the more expensive stuff, but I always put in the broccoli code.
Of course.
We're just talking about thieving our local grocers, but only the big name grocers, not the local mom and pop grocers.
Of course, yeah. Steal from Kroger's. It's okay. They're bad.
Anyways, back to the alligator pear, Steve. So he cuts up the fatty star of guacamole. Yeah, it is the fatty star of guacamole, the dip that people like to eat, saying that it's simple, natural, and a little nutty, just like noodle ball. So the Simpsons men aren't impressed. Abe has never heard of an avocado, and the only green thing that Homer eats is Marge's Mountain Dew pudding. What about her crab juice pudding?
That'll be much better. So they take a taste, and Abe appreciates how easy the avocado is on the gums, while Homer enjoys the creamy, lard-like taste. Gabrielle, representing the Organic Pit-Based Enjoyment Council, believes that avocados are the ideal sponsor for Noodle Ball. Not only can he get their pools back, but Razzleton shows Abe and Homer the future of Noodle Ball.
This is the Avo One Noodleplex, featuring 8 state-of-the-art Empty, never swum in pools. Now, I hope you don't mind, but we've put a statue of you and Grandpa right at the entrance.
We'll be remembered forever, like that dude in the Lincoln Memorial.
We've got plans for all kinds of avocado tie-ins. Oils, face masks, hair conditioners. Big A isn't just guac and chips.
Is this guy always so funny?
I don't know.
So, can we make this deal happen and raise an avocado toast?
Oh, son, we've created a sport that will live forever.
Now, Grandpa, we've got a PR guy just down the hall who wants to hear the story of your life.
When I was a boy, you kissed any horse that walked by, and that's how I acquired my taste for hay.
Were you hoping that when Gabriel opened the door for Abe and Abe walks down the hall that just one guy with a pistol goes up right behind Abe's head and just pulls the trigger and Abe gets killed? Joe Piscopo in Goodfellas. I mean, Joe Pesci in Goodfellas.
Well, first of all, that could have improved Goodfellas quite a bit if they just shot Joe Piscopo in a scene. But yes, that is what I hoped.
So you wanted Abe to be dead in this episode? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
All right. Were you ever, as a kid, nervous they would kill off, Grandpa? Because, Grandpas die in real life?
I mean, I do remember very special episodes of, other sitcoms, and I thought it was a possibility. So, yeah, it did kind of make me worried.
Didn't one of, 12 of Bill Cosby's grandfathers on The Cosby Show die?
I think he was just sleeping.
Something that he drank.
Yeah. Must have been that barbecue sauce.
Well, I remember Papuli from Full House.
Yeah.
He died. I know we're not a Full House podcast, but
Yet.
That episode, they lost their grandfather. Or was it even, it was their great-grandfather. It was Uncle Jesse's grandfather from the old country.
Right.
Not the new country, the old country, Steve.
Mm-hmm.
But their fucking mom died and they didn't have an episode. They grieved about that. I mean, I know that's how the show starts with 6 months after her death, but still. They
would have been a lot closer than Uncle Jesse's great-grandfather, yeah.
I feel yeah, I mean, Michelle didn't really, didn't know her mom, but it'll be sad. The worst thing that could ever happen to a child is losing a parent.
Right.
Some great-grandfather relative that you've seen twice and you're sad about it. Fuck you, kids.
But hey, Stephanie got a stuffed bear and a failed comedian and an exterminator to move in with her house, so it's fine.
But yeah, what were other sitcoms with the grandpa?
I feel I don't know if he died, but I remember Gordon Jump was the grandpa on Growing Pains, and I think he passed away, and it was a very special episode.
It was always family sitcoms. Did Urkel's dad kill himself?
No, it was a murder. And Steve was did I do that?
Yeah, I set you up for that one.
Mm-hmm.
So as Abe goes to tell his life story, Gabriel shuts the door, pointing out the honesty he's always shared with Homer. He then admits that he lied when he said that Noodleball was for everyone. Nobody wants to see ancient athletes break their hips and have heart attacks. Nice little foreshadowing there, Steve.
Mm-hmm.
Gabriel imagines a younger audience for Noodleball.
Homer assumes that Rattleton wants to take Noodleball and make it appealing for 20-somethings, but Gabriel says, God, no. As they don't have any money, he's thinking, 40 or 60-year-olds, because they're the last generation that can afford a house, right? Everyone can afford a house at our age.
Numbers should be skewed to 59 to 60-year-olds.
Exactly, yeah.
Not even, it should be 60 plus, to be honest.
Yeah. But he wants to erase every iota of Abe and his gang of shuffling catheters. Otherwise, the pastime's future will be blacker than a recently opened avocado.
Ugh, the worst.
Ugh.
Homer doesn't want to ditch Grampa since he is his father, and they're like brothers. I like that line.
It's a good joke.
So after a moment, Homer tells Gabriel that he and Abe invented Noodleball together. Razzleton begins to compliment Homer's integrity, but before he can finish... Can I finish? Homer eagerly kicks Abe out of the venture. So we then see the vision of Avo 1 Noodleplex, the home of Avo 1 Noodleation Tournament.
Homer, Marge, welcome to the first Noodleball Celebrity Tournament. Pretty fantastic, huh?
It's a very impressive tent. Whoever ironed it knew what they were doing.
Avocado oil Bellini.
Get that crap out of my face. Now come, I want you to meet some of the amazing youth-adjacent athletes who are competing today. Blake Griffin.
Noodleball is the perfect game for retired players whose bodies have been permanently destroyed by the sport they love, which is all of us. Ow! My spinning finger. It was supposed to be fixed after my third Meadowlark lemon surgery.
Homer Simpson. Of course you know Megan Rapinoe.
I bet Lisa knows who you are.
Lisa Simpson? I love her Substack. If you're her dad, this explains so much.
Thank you, Megan Rapinoe.
Our targeted marketing to 40 and 50-somethings is really paying off.
My whole life I've worshipped the false god of tucking in. Step-in shoes. Oh, I'll never lower my arms below my knees again.
I love the Meadowlark lemon reference.
It's a great callback to the Harlem Globetrotters, who I feel like it might be a lost gem of pop culture.
Yeah, they were cartoon characters on Scooby-Doo, right?
That's the only thing I know from. And they had a short-lived cartoon where one of them became a spring or something.
They still do stuff, Steve. Like they're still the Harlem Globetrotters. They still go on do shows all the time. I feel like I think that they're still popular enough. Like I've talked about it before. There's the Savannah Bananas that are like the baseball version.
That's true, yeah.
I'm sure Harlem. I don't think Meadowlark Lemon though plays for them due to the fact that he's dead.
Exactly. You talked about last week about how sometimes when there's like an SNL or even The Simpsons where there's a slew of athletes, it could lead to a less than stellar performance. But I think that both Blake Griffin and Megan Rapinoe did a serviceable job. They were fine.
He did a really good job as a voice actor. It's probably because, he grew up as an animated character in Quahog with his other family.
Giggity. Yeah. His sister Meg and his brother Stewie and the rest.
Well, he was like the other Osborne daughter that didn't want to be on the show.
Right.
Okay, back in the early 2000s, there was a show with Ozzy Osbourne and Sharon Osbourne, his wife, and their kids. And it was a reality show. Well, Ozzy had another daughter that didn't want to be a part of the show, so she was never in it.
Now you got me thinking, though, because I do have to point out that Blake Griffin is of multi-race background, and so...
I must say it's Peter's kid. Or no, it would be Peter's kid, but it's probably Bonnie's. Is that... No, who's Cleveland's wife's name? It's Cleveland's wife's.
Oh, okay, I was going the other way. I was thinking that maybe Lois and Cleveland got together.
Look, there's plenty of pictures of that on the internet, so look it up, guys.
Boom goes to dynamite. I haven't watched that show in 20 years. I assume he still says that.
Yeah, sure. All right.
I do like the offering the no-tuck shirts, which I learned were a thing from podcast ads, and the shoes that you don't have to step in. Or you don't have to tie, you just step in.
I saw a Untuck It shirt at a thrift store, but it was like 3XL, so it wouldn't fit. But like, man, if it was in my size, because they're not cheap.
Yeah, that's what's funny about like all those like clothes that are like solutions, like that they advertise on podcasts. It's like $80 for a t-shirt.
Yeah, I want an Untuck It. So if they want to be sponsors for us, then perfectly fine. Send us products, especially that and like MeUndies and Hims and Hers. I'm sure there's a Hers.
There is, yeah.
Okay. But no ghosting. I should have got the triple XL because like, what if I put it on and like it just like forms all of a sudden, like the shoes Michael J. Fox had in Back to the Future 2.
Mm-hmm.
The jacket did that too. Yeah.
Maybe it was made for you.
Yeah.
At the big event, Homer slurps an avocado like an oyster while Marge enjoys an avocado-based cocktail. She tells Homer how sad it is that Grandpa and the rest of the seniors couldn't join in, which leads Homer to admit that he hasn't told Abe yet. So after Homer and Marge share some frustrated pleasantries, Marge flat out asks if Homer is waiting for his father to die so he won't have to tell him he totally screwed him over, to which Homer replies, a little bit.
So back at home, Abe is upset to learn that the alligator pear push-in parasite gave him the heave-ho despite that he and Homer were a team. Homer is frustrated that for once, Abe has a working memory. He claims that his actions were the only way to save Noodleball, thereby leaving a legacy for at least one of the Simpsons men. Abe thinks that legacy doesn't mean squat, which causes Homer to spit out his chips and guac.
Squat! Justify yourself! Who cares what people think after you're gone? You ain't there to get the credit, if they remember you at all. Do you know who Johnny Carson was?
Nope.
David Letterman?
Nuh-uh.
Jimmy Fallon?
Now you're just making up names.
Don't you see? You sold me out for a few extra words in your obituary.
What's an obituary?
It's where they summarize your whole life in one sentence. Mine's gonna read, he was stabbed in the back by his son. A real father would support his son's terrible, heartless decision.
Dad, someday can I screw you out of something we create together?
You do and I'll destroy you. How could making a deal with avocados be a bad thing? It's a good fat.
Well, growing avocados does use a lot of water, over 9.5 billion liters per day.
What's that in swimming pools?
3,800.
Again, not a joke writer, but I think you know where I'm going with this. When Grampa lists off late night talk show hosts, which Johnny Carson, did Bart meet Johnny Carson?
Yes.
They didn't mention Jay Leno because, of course, he's bathed Jay Leno, or helped Jay Leno bathe Krusty.
Mm-hmm.
Dave Letterman, I don't think Dave's ever been on the show, right?
They've referenced him, but I don't think he's, met him.
And then the Jimmy Fallon joke, you're just making things up. It was a missed opportunity. You had Smigel on.
Yeah.
You didn't do a Conan O'Brien joke. And I think if Abe said Conan O'Brien, Bart could have said, the obvious jokes are the guy who wrote for us, or Bart said the monorail guy.
Or he was at my birthday party, or because of the season premiere of, Bart's birthday.
Or Conan O'Brien, oh yeah, I did his show, because he did.
Mm-hmm. Right.
But maybe that's why they didn't put Conan on, because they knew they couldn't find the right punchline to appease us fans.
But you're right, there is a chance, there's a lot of chances to make those jokes, and any one of them would have been good, and it's a missed opportunity.
I mean, also they could have done, again, I don't know if it's joke jail, but Grandpa could have said Jimmy Kimmel, Jimmy Fallon, and James Corden, and then Bart that's just another Jimmy. I don't know.
Yeah, I see where you're going with that, and I think it's better.
Although Corden's not there anymore, thank God.
Yeah.
The one person I wanted deported from this country. The country of TV, Steve.
Of course, that's the only country I want to live in. Also, I like Lisa, and they're talking about how bad avocado farming is, because I think it speaks to a larger point about how a lot of people I think about almonds and how people don't eat meat because they think it's bad for the environment, which it is, but then because of capitalism, they eat almond milk or oat milk or soy milk, which actually causes more waste and more environmental damage. So you can't win because the world is bad.
Yeah, haven't scientists said that maybe it'd be better if we were eating goats because they don't emit as much greenhouse gases as cattle farming does?
Yeah, or even bison if they're still around, or...
Yeah. So really, we just have to eat Tom Brady.
He is the GOAT.
Yes, thank you, Steve. All right. Let's chip for that setup.
So Lisa goes on to describe the negative aspects of avocados. Again, like I was saying that the transport of the product endangers wildlife around the world. She then shows the footage of a wrecked ship called the Crude Guacamole as workers clean up a guac spill, scooping up the dip from birds with tortilla chips and enjoying those chips, which, usually the guac is extra.
I really enjoyed this scene.
Mm-hmm.
So Lisa explains that the avocado oil is just using noodle ball as good press to cover up all the evil things they do, just like the way the Middle East oil spends billions to create Live Golf. Homer remarks that Live Golf can't be bad since he bleeds Mickelson's Maniacs blue. Now avocado oil is playing the same slippery game. Homer refuses to accept the wrongdoings of Big Avocado, but as Lisa points out, the Organic Pit-Based Enjoyment Council does spell out OPEC. Sure, pit-based is kind of a cheat, but, it works.
So Homer feels bad, selling his father out for an avocado. Oil, that is, green gold, Tex-Mex tea. So he rushes to the Avo 1 Noodleplex demanding to play, and Gabriel wants Homer to play, especially since he's on the cover of the latest issue of Avocado Aficionado, naked, surrounded by those green pitted treats, and Homer commenting that one of them went up his butt. Gabriel then introduces Homer's new partner.
Your partner NFL legend Andrew Luck is waiting for you.
Join me, Homer. I need a new sport. My wife keeps telling me to stop moving furniture around and get out of the house.
Andrew, if I played with you, I'd secure my noodle ball legacy forever. But at the terrible price of supporting Big Avocado. So there's another retiree who I'm teaming up with. My father. We created Noodle Ball to keep old people mobile and healthy. We're taking our sport back. Legacy be damned. And my son and I challenge your best team.
Do you and this walking wrinkle bag really expect to beat Blake Griffin and Megan Rapinoe?
We're playing now? I just had 3 avocado bellinis.
What is it with you and bellinis?
They loosen me up, Megan.
Here you go, Steve. Here's a avocado bellini.
Hey, I do feel loose.
It's because you haven't had alcohol in like a year, Steve.
That's true. That'll do it. But it's also full of good fat.
Good fat, like Domino's. Fat's Domino's.
He's a good fat. Arbuckle?
I don't know if he was that good. He was probably an asshole. I'm assuming.
Waller? Fat Swaller? Is that a thing?
Sure.
I don't know. It sounds like a name.
Fohong? Fohong Fat.
Oh, yeah. He's good.
So as Grampa and Homer warm up, Abe thanks his son for bringing him back. Homer tearfully says that they may have never played catch or tossed the football, but they have noodle ball. I feel like we've seen them throw a ball once, twice maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
Grampa's confident they will win the safe, low-impact game, but after the first serve from Blake Griffin, Homer breaks his hip and Abe has a heart attack. See, there it goes.
Nice little callback.
As Kent Brockman reports, Noodle Ball had a noodle fall and is no more. After Homer and Abe's injuries, Noodle Ball's professional debut is ruined and avocado futures are plummeting like most things are these days. Again, not a political podcast.
Everything's bad. Homer is sad that his sport is ruined, and the only one to sign his cast is Andrew Luck. The former quarterback assures Homer that retirement is great, spending time with your charities as well as your family. That may be true, but Homer wants a second opinion from Peyton Manning.
Marge is proud of Homer for sticking with his father and standing up to Big Avocado. Though she has to admit, if it's in a salad, she's not sending it back. Bart loves an avocado on a burger, and Lisa likes it directly from the skin, while Maggie just enjoys sucking it off.
An avocado, that is, hopefully.
Are you a big avocado? I know we were talking about like avocados are ruin the environment, but are you an avocado snob or fan like these people?
I love avocados, yes. We eat them a lot in our household, and they're like can be really hard to find good ones because sometimes they're just like rocks. But when you get a ripe one, it's great. What are your avocado thoughts?
I have like no issue with avocados, but I'm not seeking it out, nor will I turn away from it. I just think they're there, and to me, they're just, I don't know, maybe I just always get the wrong ones. I just feel like these taste like nothing much.
They are nothing much. But I think that it's a texture thing for me. I think I enjoy like the fattiness of them.
I think that's it for me. The texture is not my favorite.
That's fair, because that's really what it's got going for it. It's not a really strong flavor, but I think it lends itself to other things well. But yeah, if you're not into the texture, then why bother?
Like, I like guacamole, but I don't go out to get it. And a lot of like restaurants you go to is like, oh, guacamole is an extra $3.50. I'm like, well, I don't give a shit. I don't need that.
It's not worth it, yeah. And they do make a good point about the toast turning black. Like, the shelf life of avocados is dangerously short.
Much like when you cut an apple.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't like apples either.
You don't like apples?
I think they're overrated. Like, they're fine, but I think people go a little crazy for apples, or whatever.
But the fact that you're recording on an apple right now just really grinds my gears.
Oh, it's true. It's a fair point. I've been called out, and I apologize. So if you want to send me a new Apple computer, that's fine.
I'll take one too.
All right.
Are you talking to our audience or me?
I mean, if you want to buy me one, that's fine. But also listeners, if you want to both buy us one, or buy us both one, that's true. That's great too. Abe thinks that if they just would have swum in pools, they would have been fine, despite the fact that it's so chilly when you get into it. Homer laments that nothing good came out of the whole ordeal, but we then see Andrew, not Luck, but the squeaky voice teen, and Amy, hand in hand as the squeaky voice teen shows off the home of the backhoe renting weirdo. So Amy gives him a kiss, causing him to say in a very deep voice, "Oh my." And that is our episode, which, as a little postscript, was a tribute to Jill Solbuhl, the writer of I Kissed a Girl, who just passed away, sadly. And that's our episode, but as we go into break, let's hear some more rules of Noodle Ball, and we'll be right back.
Official rules of Noodle Ball, Section 29. If a dog steals your pool ball, you're allowed to steal its ball. All players must count up their meds, and the one with the most pills serves first. The pool noodle may be blown through, but not yelled through. In between points, a maximum of 3 pictures of grandkids may be shown. 4 if the kids are costumed or in a school play. If a player's pool noodle comes untied, that player must call flopper, and the play is suspended until the laughter subsides. If the pool being played in has a separate hot tub, nice.
Alrighty, we're back. Let's finish up our talk of Full Heart's Empty Pool. We'll talk about what we liked in this episode, what we didn't like in this episode, our general thoughts, and what we're watching next week. But before we do all of that, we like to, exchange gifts from this episode, something that we think our fellow co-host might appreciate. And Craig, I got some stuff for you. Well, first of all, you mentioned how you would love to have one of these, though they are cost prohibitive. So I got you an Untuck It shirt, so you can walk around, not in a Goodwill shirt that is 3XL, but one that is your size, 2XL, and you don't have to tuck it in. Also, so you can have some more culture in your life, I got you Rick Steves' Best of Dream World book. Because you're going to be hungry after all that dream reading, I got you a nice Mountain Dew pudding. So enjoy.
I was hoping for crab juice pudding.
Aw.
That just sounded like more like a cute
Aw.
There you go. Steve, I know your love of avocados, and I know your love of eating avocados.
Sure.
But I also know your hate of pools. But I thought, what if you had both? So I got you an Olympic-sized swimming pool filled with avocados.
Wow. That's going to be great for a few minutes until they all go bad.
That's it. That's all I got you. It's very expensive, Steve.
It's understandable. Yeah, I got you a shirt and a book and some pudding. You didn't have to do all that. So thank you. I appreciate it. Craig, what made you laugh in this episode?
I enjoy the silly bit in the beginning with Squeaky Teen and then hearing his father speak really deep and the courtroom stuff. I thought it was just dumb enough to start an episode. And I mean dumb enough like the way Simpsons dumb. Simpsons dumb is good.
Mm-hmm.
Mo on the stand saying like Homer doesn't even know how doors work. Kent Brockman, of course. And then some of the lines that just clever wordplay with Homer talking about Grampa, like, but Grampa is my father. He's like a brother to me. I thought that was a very funny line. And sometimes we like callbacks on this episode, so it was fun to see a lot of the old one-time characters like the tall man making appearances again. A lot of fun. If I gave it MVJ, I'm going to give it to Kent Brockman.
Nice. Always solid.
How about you?
Yeah, I really enjoyed the sitcom opening of the Teen family. It's also funny that somebody referred to him as Mr. Teen, so Squeaky Voice Teen is their last name. It's fun. I really enjoyed the Rick Steves segment. I think it was a good use of Rick Steves. I think the artwork was a lot of fun. I liked a lot of the avocado jokes and just how much they got out of that. And yeah, I think if I'm going to give an MVJ, I'm going to weirdly give it to Grandpa, just because his talking to Bart about who all these late night hosts are, even if they did miss a good Conan opportunity, I think that Abe was kind of fun in this episode. But Greg, what were your overall thoughts of Full Heart's Empty Pools?
Yeah, I just felt like some of the jokes didn't hit, and I've talked about that on the podcast too. It was just like, there's a couple jokes I feel like needed to have a rewrite. And this episode felt like, the father and son sextonic episode, but it didn't have the same oomph, as an episode with Abe and Homer. Like, they created a new sport, and we're bringing like the pickleball craze because anyone can play it type of deal, and then we're using avocado and how horrible the production of avocados is. Just, I think that's just lumping in like every sort of mass-produced item that's in this world. It's all bad. There's nothing inherently wrong about avocados or almond milks. It's just when they get overproduced, then that becomes a problem. But that's anything.
That's capitalism.
we're huge capitalist fans on this podcast, right, Steve?
That's right. Give us money.
And you know how this like kind of comes back to last week's episode, how this episode starts with Squeaky Teen, a character that we never really see much of. I mean, we see him all the time, but like never like the backstory or like an episode about. And like last week, you had Bart and Lisa like doing the aping and how much we wanted to see more of that develop. I kind of felt the same way with the Squeaky Teen, but I wanted a little bit more. But it wasn't necessary for this episode.
Mm-hmm.
But I enjoyed that parts, and then I don't know, like I think we just had an Abe adventure with Mo, and now we're doing Abe and this Homer episode, and I've also decided like Abe is probably one of my favorite Simpsons characters, which, you know, it sounds like I'm not liking this. Like, I think Abe is a great punchline character. The idea of like, I think if you're a comedy writer and writing for Abe is so great because of all of like the Abeisms of, you know, sounding like a kooky old crazy man, but then sometimes Abe also can have like the most poignant lines and the most sense as a Simpsons character. I just felt a very middle of the road episode. I don't know if it's one of my favorites from the season. So I'm going to give it a pass. If I had to rank this, though, if you need a numerical amount. So the statistics for avocado sales in America or the U.S., of how many were shipped and sold. So about 2.837 billion pounds were sold in the year 2023. So this would mean that an average person in America consumes 8.7 pounds of avocados a year.
Mm-hmm.
I'm assuming that's just in a day for you.
That's right.
Out of the pounds a year I eat of avocados, I'm going to give this a 0.003 out of 8.7.
That's fair. Yeah, there are some things that I appreciate about this episode. I really like the cold open of, or not the cold open, but the opening of the Squeaky Voice Teen's lifestyle and like getting to see him. That's exciting. I enjoyed the reference to Challengers. It's a modern reference that, you know, Simpsons can always bust out. But I feel like 2 weeks ago, as you mentioned, we had the Abe baseball episode, and it's kind of funny that we're doing that. And also, I just feel like, you know, we talk a lot about the concept of Homer getting a new job and failing, or Homer screwing up and having to win back Marge as like episode tropes that we've seen a lot of. And I feel like Simpsons characters who we don't see always matched up, or even if we do, two characters invent or discover something only to have one of them screw the other one over. And I feel like this is what this is doing again with Abe and Homer pairing up, discovering something only to have it like fall apart.
Because it's so obvious that it's Homer's the one that's always going to betray Abe. But what if you flipped the script and it was Abe that betrayed Homer?
Yeah.
I know they set it up to like not have like the elderly, but like what if they did flip it and make that joke of like, you people are the only people that can afford anything in this country.
I think that could have been a lot more of an interesting storyline where like these seniors get to thrive playing noodle ball and they pull out the, you know, the younger people and they're left to play pickleball or whatever. I think that could have been, there's a lot of potential there. Yeah.
That way you could have lumped in more of like boomer-esque, I don't know, complaints we have with this country. So there you go. That's all. Sorry to interrupt.
No, not at all. That's a really good point. And I do think that this episode is going to be a miss for me as well. I just feel like nothing about it stood out enough to like be memorable. And the parts that did work, we've seen before, maybe executed better. Although it was nice to see all those cameos from other one-time or couple-time Simpsons Springfield people. Maybe that's like them leaning in on familiarity just to make this episode feel a little better than it actually is. And so if I had to give this ranking, as we mentioned, Robert Smigel is kind of most known for being Triumph the Insult Comic Dog. And in 2003, they released an album called Come Poop With Me, which was a CD full of songs by Triumph the Insult Comic Dog. And it had 19 tracks. So out of 19 tracks, I'm going to give this 7 out of 19, which is the track called Lick Myself. Surrounded by other tracks like Call to STD Hotline, Cats Are Cunts, and certainly not problematic, Call to Chinese Restaurant, which I don't even want to know. So this one, I think for both of us, was sadly not a success, but maybe next week, which happens to be the season finale, will be a little bit better. Now, Craig, what do you think the title of that episode is?
Well, this episode was called Full Heart, Empty Pool, And I don't know, did we discuss what this is a parody title of?
I don't think we did, and I assume that it's Friday Night Fights?
Friday Night Fights?
Friday Night Lights. That's what it is.
Full Heart and Empty Pool. How does that make sense? That doesn't make sense at all.
Full Hearts, Empty Hearts Can't Lose? Isn't that a thing from...
Is it? Look, I thought maybe it was a parody of that movie with George Clooney, Good Night and Good Luck.
Oh.
But it's not, because there's an and in it. So, at least I'm able to say that maybe next week will be a parody of that title, Good Night and Good Luck. It'll be called Gumball Night and Gunderson Luck.
Ooh, that does sound like a fun episode that I would love to watch, but unfortunately you are completely wrong, because next week's title is called Stranger Things. What do you think that's about?
Well, Stranger Things is a popular Netflix show that will be going off the air pretty soon, because of all the kids are 93.
Mm-hmm.
But they've also done a Stranger Things actual parody, so I don't think it's really going to be a Stranger Things because it's a stranger. So it's like a strange. So I think in the season finale, Marge and Homer finally split up.
Whoa.
That's right. We're going to have a classic 2-part cliffhanger episodes, much like the famous season 5 to season 6 Who Shot Mr. Burns. I think we're finally going to have a cliffhanger. I think at the end of this episode, Homer is going to leave Marge.
Wow.
See, there's a twist. You always assume it would be Marge, but no. Because Marge is caught cheating on Homer.
Ooh.
Well, we assume it's cheating, but she's really having sex with a different man.
Oh, that's fine.
And in the B story, Bart and Lisa don't want to deal with Maggie anymore, so they throw Maggie away.
Wow.
And Grampa decides to take a vacation to Thailand, to the White Lotus, where he may or may not have been killed.
I was going to say, does he have like a Sam Rockwell situation happening?
That too. Okay, that's it.
That sounds like a lot of fun, but you were kind of close, because Bart and Lisa are in the episode, and I assume Homer and Marge are too, because Stranger Things is about this. When Bart and Lisa stop watching Itchy and Scratchy together, Marge fears that they'll drift apart, but she has no idea how bad things are about to get.
That sounds like the plot to this podcast. If we stop watching The Simpsons, our fan Timothy will fear we will drift apart.
I know. Well, fear not, Timothy. This will be okay for at least another week. And we hope that you'll be here too for our season finale. Not our season finale, but the season finale of season 36. And hey, thank you for listening this week. If you want to reach out to us, we want to hear from you. You can contact us on the socials, like your Instagram, your Threads, or your YouTube at 138simpsons. Or the best way to contact us is on email at 138simpsons@gmail.com.
But also, we want your reviews. Go to your podcasting app, leave us a 5-star review or the equivalent, but you don't have to write us a real review. No, just tell us the sport you invented so we can take it from you and make millions off of it.
That's right. And hey, go to tpublic.com/user/annoyedgruntboy and get yourself some awesome Annoyed Grunt Boy 138 Simpsons swag. We have all kinds of t-shirts that you can either tuck in or tuck out, as is your preference. All right. Thank you so much for listening. For this week, I've been Annoyed Grunt Boy Steve.
And I've been Annoyed Grunt Boy Craig.
And remember, when I was a boy, you kissed any horse that walked by, and that's how I acquired my taste for hay.
Guess what's holding up my pants?
Have you donated to PBS this year?